Madison made a throwing gesture with their hands. Our engineers assure me that if we eject our remaining antimatter at just the right angle, the explosion should propel us straight to the nearest friendly port. Probably math's a bit fuzzy on that one. The two Confederacy officers exchanged looks of horror. The human continued smiling, apparently completely unbothered by the prospect of creating a tactical antimatter explosion to serve as improvised propulsion. Docking permission granted. Zix said quickly, please do not eat anything awesome. See you in 5-0. And you might want to clear landing bay 3 and 4, and maybe 5. Our pilots having what we call one of those days. The transmission cut off, leaving Zix and Mira in stunned silence. Sir Mirth finally said, I've been analyzing human behavioral patterns for 3 cycles now, and I still can't tell if they're brilliant or insane. The truly terrifying part, Zygle replied, watching as the Butterfingers began its decidedly wobbly approach, is that I'm becoming increasingly convinced the answer is both. The next hour was a masterclass in controlled chaos as the human vessel attempted to dock despite looking like it was held together by optimism and adhesive strips. The ship performed a series of maneuvers that should have been physically impossible, violated at least 17 different safety protocols, and somehow managed to dock perfectly on the first try, albeit upside down relative to standard orientation. See Captain Madison said cheerfully as they stepped through the airlock, somehow managing to walk normally despite being inverted relative to the station's artificial gravity. Told you we'd fit you, you're going to need to rotate your ship, Zix managed to say. Nah, we're good, the crew's used to it. Did you know if you spend enough time upside down, your brain just kind of gives up and decides that's the new right side up? Fascinating stuff, really keeps you on your toes, or your head, depending on perspective. Before either officer could respond to this concerning statement, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red emergency lights pulsed as an automated message played over the speakers, warning capital class warship detected, configuration unknown, designation hostile, all personnel to battle stations. Oh boy, Madison said, they grinned, somehow growing even wider. Hey, quick question, you folks wouldn't happen to be having problems with the Ravager fleet, would you? Big scary ships, lots of tentacles, led by something calling itself the supreme consciousness of infinite terror. The Ravagers, Mirth's crystalline form paled to an almost transparent state. They're a Class Omega threat. How do you know about them? Oh, we ran into them a few weeks ago. They tried to assimilate one of our colonies. It was actually pretty funny. They didn't realize humans are basically walking biological firewalls. Something about our brain chemistry being too chaotic for their psychic network to interface with. Who knew having anxiety would turn out to be an evolutionary advantage? A massive shadow fell over the station as the Ravager vessel moved into view. It was everything the Butterfingers wasn't, sleek, intimidating, and radiating an aura of unstoppable power. Its biomechanical tentacles writhed in patterns that hurt to look at, and its hull seemed to absorb light itself. Inferior beings, a voice boomed through all communication channels simultaneously. Your physical and mental resources will be added to our collective resistance is, resistance is futile. We get it, Madison interrupted, pulling out what appeared to be a personal communications device. Hey Jenkins, remember that ancient artifact I mentioned, the exploding one? Think you could point it at the big tentacle ship and press the red button? You dare interrupt the supreme consciousness of not now? Busy. Madison waved dismissively at the eldritch horror ship. Jenkins, yeah, the big red button. No, the other big red button, the one labeled probably shouldn't press this. What happened next would be debated in Confederacy scientific circles for decades to come. The Butterfingers still docked upside down